Listening to the radio in the kitchen has been a worldwide tradition for decades. In this video, we're going to explore why the Sony CFT22 might be the ultimate kitchen radio. Let's jump into it. Out of the many sound gadgets we have at home, the kitchen radio is perhaps the most frequently used, but at the same time, whenever we want to upgrade one of those devices, it's usually relegated to the bottom of the list. The reason for this might be that its functionality is only associated with tuning in a radio station, or maybe it's because people don't find the need to look for a better sound quality just to hear their favorite morning news show, which makes a lot of sense. While thinking about this, I decided to dig deeper and try to find good reasons that will make an upgrade to our own kitchen radio a worthwhile investment. Right off the bat, I resolved to remove sound quality out of the equation. For every other sound gadget at home, a better sonic experience is many times the only thing that will drive us to look for a better sounding equipment. But the nature of listening to the radio in the kitchen is completely different than playing an album in our hi-fi system or being in front of the computer working or playing video games. We are usually either having breakfast, cooking a meal, or having a snack, so the music or the news are just a background listening activity which does not require an outstanding playback quality. Let's then have a look at the radio we currently own. It's a Universum TR2334 transistor radio from 1974. It was custom manufactured in Taiwan for Quell, a large German mail-order company. It was purchased by the father of my girlfriend and passed on to her when we first moved in together. It actually does what's expected from a 50-year-old unit, but the first thing that came to my mind, going back to finding reasons to upgrade it, was its size. We have limited space in the kitchen, and this radio is surely bulky for only having AM/FM bands and a speaker. So that's the first good reason I found, size reduction. I also wanted the new radio to be able to play cassettes, cause I don't own CDs and vinyls are too big, so having a small radio that can also play tapes could bring a whole new spectrum of possibilities. And third, while thinking about how stationary a kitchen radio usually is, and that many times after having breakfast we want to move to a different room but we don't want to miss the latest bit of the news flash, then having some kind of portability could also be a great new feature. Having these three things in mind, I started to do a research online to try to find the perfect radio that would fulfill these needs. The good thing is that the time frame when companies were producing cassette stereos was just from the beginning of the 80s till mid-90s. Most of the production of these devices was done in Japan by manufacturers like Sony, Sharp, Panasonic or Pioneer. The first models, just like the Walkmans, were a bit too big with limited features, but during the 90s, the size of the devices started to be smaller, the sound quality improved, and their designs were more edgy and appealing. So then, looking at Japanese stereo models from the 90s on my local eBay, I found this beautiful, small and portable radio with a cassette player just for €10. It was perfect. The model was the Sony CFT22. I contacted the seller, but I got no answers, and in the end the item was taken down. I've tried to look on eBay.com, Etsy or any other second-hand online market, but it was nowhere to be seen. I knew it was real because a replacement bell for its cassette player was listed on eBay, as well as a well-preserved service manual. So I decided to save the search and wait. And boy, I did. After 6 months, there it was again. A CFT22 on the German eBay, but unfortunately it was partially burned, and even though I was so close from buying it, I thought it was wise to wait for one in good conditions. Finally, after more than a year, a brand new CFT22 with its original box and instruction manual popped up on my phone. The price? Just €40, which it is some money, but I've seen it again on eBay after my purchase, and they always are between 10 and €15. The package arrived home a few days ago, so now it's time to have a closer look. The original box is still in quite good conditions, apart from 2 little rips on the top. We can see how they advertise the most important features on the front cover. FM, AM, 2-band turner and radio cassette player, straightforward. On the right hand side, they pointed space-saving unique design as a key feature, which was also the first thing I thought when looking for reason to upgrade our own kitchen radio, so we're definitely on the money here. Second one is water resistant, which I don't know how to feel about that one, and will obviously not test on this video, but for what I've read in the manual, the radio is resistant to water splash, which gives the flexibility to place the radio close from a sink or in the bathroom, without worrying too much about damaging the device. They actually put some effort into the design and came up with this rubber button layout that seems to be waterproof. And also both headphone and power jacks have water resistant covers as well, so this is certainly not a gimmick. The question is, do kitchen radios really get wet often? I don't think so. The last features are an omnidirectional speaker system, which is quite cool if you want to place a radio in between two people, an auto reverse function for the cassette player that is always appreciated for keeping your tapes rewinded and ready to use. On one of the sides of the box, the same features as in the front are listed again, but on the opposite side there's some nice pictures that show how beautiful this robot looking radio looks in a bathroom, kitchen or dining room. Now let's take it out of the box. We got the AC adapter, and it seems that the previous owner padded the package with some paper. And here is the radio. It's surprisingly light and I'm really loving the design. It has that typical Japanese cuteness. It came with the guarantee and the user's manual, both still sealed. The button layout is quite straightforward. A knob for volume adjustment that also turns off the radio when in minimum, a tape or radio selector, and the same for AM or FM radio bands and its respective tuning knob. It comes with very simple cassette player controls and 2 buttons for playback direction. The antenna is fully retractable, even the joint can be pulled back, which makes it easier to carry in a bag or so. Let's now test its playback capabilities, starting with the cassette. It's actually quite melodic, of course nothing extraordinary, but it can bring quite a punch to a small room. On higher volumes it does get muffle and distortion, but you're not gonna be playing cassettes at full blast on such a device. The radio is quite snappy at tuning in, and it sounds very clear and rich. It's definitely more than capable for both kinds of playback. So what about its portability then? Here on the back we have the battery compartment. It's powered by 4 C-type batteries, which are in between 1.5 to 2.5 euros each. But yeah, what's the point in buying batteries nowadays? No one wants to spend money on that. But for someone that has many devices like Walkmans, field recorders or all analog cameras that require either AA, AAA or C batteries, it's wise to spend a little money and get a battery charger. I got mine from Amazon for just 15 euros and it's been working great for quite some time. I added 4 rechargeable C batteries to the mix for 17 euros and voila, I can power this bad boy for days. I was also quite surprised by how smooth is the transition from switching from normal power to battery mode, regardless if you're listening to the radio or a cassette. Just remove the AC power cord and you're already on batteries. Of course this radio will be plugged to a wall socket most of its life, but having the possibility to take this around the house is just so cool. I hope you enjoyed the video. For such a small investment, I'm having some good fun with this cassette radio. I've done some mixtapes of chess classics or anime openings, and now I can just press play and have music for hours. Do you think this will be a good upgrade to your own kitchen radio? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, until next time.